You see, you don't go around trying to legislate morals. See, morals are not things that can be legislated. Morals are things that have to be instilled from the time you are a child. Train a child up in the way that he is to go, and when he becomes old, he will not depart from it. Do you understand? And so, you know, he may go and experiment. I'll show you an example. You have people that was practicing homosexuality that felt guilty about it, and they got groups that they've gotten together to help each other stop doing it. You understand? You know why? Because their conscience was condemning them the whole time they was doing it. And they just eventually had to go back and not depart from what they was taught from the time they was little. Do you understand? You see, but now you got people that's actually teaching their children that it ain't nothing wrong with that. You see, and that's why you have it so widespread. Do you understand? You see, and so it's much that you can learn from just paying attention to the Word of God. You learn all about yourself. Allah teaches us how we work. He teaches us how we were designed. Do you understand? You see, so you know, these people, by teaching children that there's nothing wrong with that, it's like the doctors doing going in taking out people's tonsils. At one time, every time you look up, tonsillectomies was being performed, and even when the tonsils was just inflamed because they was doing their job, they just removed them. You understand? And you know, so it's the appendix is another thing. If you ask them, what does the appendix do? They really don't know. At least they ain't shared with us what it does. It's just, they call it an appendix because it sticks out and they don't know what it's there for. So they remove it because it ain't really serving no purpose, they say. None that they know of. Do you understand? So that's like them shade tree mechanics that we used to have, and they take your motor apart and put it back together. You see some bolts, some nuts there, or some bolts laying around after they done replaced the transmission. And you say, well, what about these? They say, oh, it didn't need them. It didn't need them. So GM and Ford put a whole lot of bolts and spent a whole lot of money on bolts that they really didn't need. Simply because he didn't have no tool, the proper tool, to put them bolts back. You understand? Or he just was too lazy to put them back. And worse, he might not have even knew where they went. So it's but anyway, it says, you see how being poor helped me? See, a lot of y'all never experienced that. Rich people don't experience that kind of stuff. But poor people, they experience dealing with the real world, the underbelly. You understand? I came up on the rough side of the mountain. So it says, they be singing these songs, they don't even know what they're singing about. They're just singing a song, and if you ask them what that means, most of them don't know. So it says, for they are, this is the fourth verse, for they are impudent children. Now, impudent, meaning even if you whip them, it don't do no good. Do you understand? It's like Pharaoh. He was impudent. Go tell him to let him go, but I'm going to harden his heart that he won't let him go. Because I'm going to show you what I'm going to do to him. Let me see here. Impudent. Let's see what the dictionary says about it. I-M-P-U-D-E-N-T. Offensively bold or disrespectful, insolent or impertinent, immodest. You know, like getting on, like Donald Trump. He was that. He didn't have no modesty. He just, whatever he's thinking, he let it fly out his mouth. You understand? And they clapped for him. And the more he did that, the more immodest he got. Huh? Yeah. It says mischievous, impertinent, or in other words, disrespectful. Huh? Yeah. But they are impudent. They are impudent children and stiff-hearted. This is that 4th verse. I do send thee unto them. Notice the words. I do send thee unto them. What, didn't I tell you that Allah raised me and told me to come out here and talk to y'all? God ain't sent him. Allah upheld me and said, I do send him to you. He said, I do send thee unto them, and thou shalt say unto them, thus saith the Lord God. Thus saith, in this case, the God Ezekiel. I know you. And they, whether they will hear or whether they will forbear, for they are a rebellious country, a rebellious house, a rebellious mind. Yet shall know that there have been a prophet by the name of Ezekiel among them. He sure had your number, didn't he? He had all our number. He wrote down what was going to take place. And now it's happening. I didn't hear you. He says, and thou, son of man. Remember I told you when you speak the truth in front of people that that love lies and that don't want to straighten up, they give you them dirty looks. They even got a song that said, now don't give me no dirty looks. But when I was in elementary school, it said, yakety yakety, don't talk back. But anyway, it says, and thou, son of man, be not afraid of them. Huh? Why would he tell me don't be afraid? They're going to try to scare you. Don't be scared of them. Be not afraid of them. Neither be afraid of their words. We're going to blast your head open, Negro. Is that what he told me when I first got on there? Neither be afraid of their words, though briars and thorns be with thee. And thou dost dwell among gangs, scorpions. Donald Trump is a good example of a scorpion. He don't do nothing. He didn't go up there to the Capitol. He sent his followers there, his tail there. Huh? Those who was full of, a scorpion's tail is full of poison. You understand? They was full of all that poison that they had taken in on the internet, and was spewing out on the internet. See, they was the authors of that poison. You understand? They was there spreading it, pass it around. Huh? So it says, though thou dost dwell among scorpions, be not afraid of their words, nor be dismayed at their looks. Huh? Though they be a rebellious house. And thou shalt speak my words unto them, whether they are willing to hear it, or whether they will not be willing, that it'll hit their forehead and just bounce off. For they are most rebellious. Most of them are just rebellious. But thou, son of man, you hear what I say unto you. Be not rebellious like them. Even though you grew up in their house. I'm in the world, but I'm not of the world. That's one thing. Ain't nobody never could call me as a rebel. I'm not rebellious. Unless you try to get me to do something that I ain't got no business doing. Then I will tell you, no, I can't do that. Huh? So it says, open your mouth. Recite my words. Open your mouth and eat that which I give thee. As I'm reciting the word to you, I couldn't teach you if Allah wasn't giving me the understanding of it while I'm reciting it. Do you understand? So I'm eating, and you are at the supper, the marriage supper of the Lamb. That's why it's called a marriage supper, because I was told to eat it. And it says, blessed are they that are called or invited unto the marriage supper of the Lamb, so that you could become one with me. Yeah. That they may be one as we are. That's what Jesus prayed for. You know, it's just like I was telling the brother that it is so disappointing to see people who claim to be following me refusing or being slow to help each other to do what they know is helping me. You act sometime like you doing this for this brother or this sister. You ain't doing nothing for that brother or that sister. You helping me. Now, if you don't want to do this, I advise you to get away from me. Get away from us. Now, if you can't stop being Stephen, when I say Stephen, I'm talking about Django Unchained. You know the part Stephen played. He talked crazy to everybody but Master. He never went off on Master. He just let Master talk to him any kind of way. Huh? But you save all your going off for those that you call brother and sister. I don't want to hear that stuff. I'm telling all of you all who say you following me. You better start acting like brothers and sisters. You understand? coming up to me telling me about when you supposed to be helping each other and you trying to figure out a reason not to. Well, ain't now one of you work harder than me. I ain't gonna let nobody work harder than me. So I know you. I told you, you can't stop people from thinking evil about you, but you can sure stop it from being justified. Why you think I keep records and show you records of the work that I be doing? It ain't to brag. It's to stop your lying mouth. Now, if you know, I mean, I shouldn't even have to stand up and tell y'all to help each other. Why should I have to tell brothers and sisters who say they're trying to build a nation to help each other? Why should I have to tell you to help each other? It's because you've been in the lap of the devil who told you to hate each other and made you beat each other and made you, he still makes you beat each other. What you think boxing is? You've done up there, stand each other down and look at what do you think football is? Decapitate him. Hit him high and now hit him low. Let's put him out the game. That kind of stuff, man. And you just, everywhere you look, you live in a world that puts human beings against each other. And the ultimate game is called war. And those who declare war are generally not the ones who fight it. Militaries don't declare war. Civilian governments declare war. And it's generally over something that they want. That's what Putin wants their resources in Ukraine. Name some of the stuff that Ukraine got. They got wheat and all of the stuff that Russia could use to not be hurt by sanctions. Do you understand? He's trying to get himself in a position where he can do what he please to who he please. Now, we need this land over here. Let's just take it. Huh? And not we. I need it. For his plan is his plan. You know, man, these people and stuff.
So Ukraine is the largest country entirely in Europe and the world's 46th largest with Crimea, and then their resources, three main groups, energy resources, metal ores, and non-metal ores, but they also do wheat.
No, you got to be specific. I'm not interested in no general knowledge of Ukraine. I mean, I stood up here and read it once about Ukraine got many resources there, and that's what they really after. That's what Putin was after, and he was willing to commit genocide to get it. That's why he bombing civilians and bombing all of the structures and all of that stuff, bombing the cities out. He want to bomb them people off the earth. And even when he said he claims that they are Russian people, well, why would you bomb your own people? So you think you have a right because many of them were Russian citizens or whatnot at one time, that gives you the right to go and murder them, if you please? What country has ever went along with that kind of thinking? You don't have a right to just murder your citizens. Those are crimes against humanity. And if you say they are your brother Russians, then when your man kill his own family, that's called fratricide. That's what them Menendez boys did to their parents. Then lied and said that the father was abusing them or whatnot. Lying. The old grown stand up in the mud ain't never wanted for nothing, and then found that he wanted his money, his inheritance quicker. So let's get him out of the way and get the money. Boy, this is something. You live in a world full of devils.
Sir, Ukraine is second globally in gallium extraction, which is a lithium reserve metal. Fifth globally in germanium extraction. Sixth globally in titanium extraction. Seventh globally in iron extraction. Eighth globally in manganese extraction. And third licensed fields and blocks in lithium. Third licensed field and blocks in rare earth metals, 7 in titanium, and that doesn't include their wheat and other exports.
So if they could just get them Ukrainian people out of the way, they could be living large in Russia. Get the Ukrainian people out of the way. In other words, put them in the ground and then we can take the land and go on. Huh? And you know, it's just like these people. I'm going to tell you what happened here in America. You was willing to look the other way when Donald Trump was walking around here disrespecting the first black president. You was willing to look the other way when members of Congress were openly showing their racist attitudes during the Obama presidency, when Mitch McConnell and all of them was doing all of that wrong against him. See, the problem with, as I told you, when you hate any flesh, you hate all flesh that does not hate the flesh that you hate. I didn't hear you now. Now you let me say that again. When you hate any flesh, then you hate all flesh that does not hate the flesh that you hate. It's impossible to love some flesh and hate other flesh. That's impossible. You don't find out how impossible it is until the flesh that you hate is loved by some other flesh that looks like you. Then you start realizing that you don't even love white flesh. That's how them civil rights workers got murdered that was white here in Mississippi. They didn't get murdered because they was white. They got murdered because they was white that wasn't hateful to black people. Do you understand? So it ain't never been about flesh. That's just the lie they've been telling. They don't love nobody. The minute that you don't want to do what they want to do, they hate you. Do you understand? That's why them cowardly dogs don't come in here and say a word to me. When a man, let me tell you something, a lie will make you a coward. If you are a liar, you can't help but be a coward. Now, what is the proof of that? Does the Justice Department have a history of railroading white people? You remember all the hell Al Capone was walking around here raising? They knew he had murdered people in the open. Remember he took that baseball bat to that man and beat his head at a dinner table. He didn't get arrested for that because they couldn't find nobody who would testify against him. They heard about it, but just because you heard about something doesn't mean that you could prove it in a court of law. That's hearsay. Do you understand? You need a witness that will swear that he was there watching it happen. Do you understand? So, they finally got him on tax evasion. Thanks to his accountant, his bookkeeper. Huh? That's what he told us. So they didn't railroad even Al Capone. Now, these people, you see, whenever a person decides to use fear as an ally to get their way, to go around frightening people, it's because he knows the truth won't help him. If the truth was on his side, he could convince rational people to see things his way and help him and do what he wants done. But if the truth is against him, you think he's going to voluntarily go and sit in front of a committee or the Justice Department? He going to voluntarily go sit in front of them to be questioned by them? No. Because the truth is against him. And he scattered the truth. Do you understand? You can't have a lie and be bold. You can only have a lie and be afraid. You can pretend to be bold, but there ain't nothing bold about you. You see how Donald Trump pretended to be bold, but he ain't went in front of no deposition and stuff. You got to drag him in there kicking and screaming. Do you understand? I don't want to go in there. That's a perjury trap. And that kind of, what you mean a perjury trap? There ain't no trap. That's just you. But a wolf knows when he's about to be trapped. Huh? Yeah. You see, just like, people give credit to liars. But the only one who gives credit to liars is another liar. What is credit? Credibility. That's the root word of credibility. Credit. Huh? Of course, the banks woke up to him a long time ago. He ain't got no credibility in the bank. No, sir. They stopped loaning money to that liar. So, this is the kind of people who support Donald Trump. liars. They act tough only when they in a gang and it's a whole bunch of them and maybe one of you. Do you understand? But there ain't nothing tough about them. A really tough person don't have to bluff, don't have to lie. They, you know, it's just like come out there, all of them put their masks on and all of that kind of stuff to come up there and do what they lied about, saying that they was patriots defending their country. Don't no patriot feel like he got to put no mask on to go and be patriotic? Huh? What I look like standing up here in front of you claiming to be some patriot and got a mask on? Don't want nobody to know who I am. Why? Hiding for what? Like some of you sorry individuals out there that was running around here talking about when Donald Trump and them was out there talking about Muslims are terrorists and all that kind of stuff. Well, we need to go undercover. I ain't going under no cover to hiding from no devil. What's wrong with you? You mean God on your side and you scared of the devil? You a liar. You know God ain't on your side. Anyway, so you see, everything is written. Everything that's happening. It's like I was telling the believer yesterday. People be thinking I'm standing up here bragging on myself. That's all he do. Every time he get up there, he talking about he's this and he's that. And they ain't never thought about the fact that I'm just reading what this book said about me. They were told to bear me witness. And that's in Isaiah. And I was told to read it. That's in the around 45th chapter of Isaiah, I think it is. That I remember the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, we ain't never had one God. That's a new teaching. That's a teaching that started 50,000 years ago when one of the 12 scientists who was ruling our planet, they disagreed. He disagreed with the 11. Excuse me. And he told them, he said that he could make a man a people. First he said he could make a people that would be so strong that nothing could defeat them. And from them, he could produce one who would be so wise that he would bring it in to us being ruled by 12, and we would have only one. And that's what's over in Revelation, the 12th chapter, where it says, about the woman that was clothed with the sun and the moon under her feet. See, the moon at one time was part of the earth. Is there any white people? I want to give him the opportunity to argue with us about that. Oh, that's right, you wasn't here, huh? I mean, I have to put it like that. This happened 66 trillion years ago, so you just have to take our word for it, because you wasn't here. So we left a little history of it in both the Bible and the Holy Quran, where the Holy Quran, on the chapter in 54 entitled The Moon, it says, the hour drew nigh and the moon was rent asunder. How did it? And so that do away with you talking about it didn't happen. So I'm not making fun the way you might think that I'm making fun. I know how to provoke people to come in and talk to me. Do you? I remember when I was in barber school and I provoked a fella to say something. Well, since you know so much, tell us what happened 2 billion years ago. So I looked at him and smiled. And I was just a baby then, but wasn't nobody able to catch up with me back then. So I looked at him. I said, the sun rose in the east and set in the west. The clouds was giving rain. The birds were flying. Butterflies were going from pollinating plants and feeding themselves off of the nectar. Caterpillars was being caterpillars. And he looked at me and walked on off, and that's what he got for butting in my conversation. Do you understand? But I was speaking loud enough for him to butt in. And when he butt in, then I gave him the answer that he was not expecting. And so there's many things that we know. It's like Spock told them once about throwing a hammer. He said, if I throw a hammer, I don't have to see it hit to know that it fell. Do you understand? Because I know the laws of nature and I know the laws of gravity. Huh? Okay. So, when you study, that's what prophecy actually is. You can predict the deeds and the actions of any creature or even any person if you're the one who gave them all of their knowledge. You know what they're going to do before they do it. Allah proved that with the scriptures here. So anyway, over in Revelation, it says in the 12th chapter, in the first verse, and there appeared a great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun. That's the black nation. Clothed with the sun. You know what happens when you lay out on the beach. Even white people, they know they get tan. They get dark. Huh? And okay, well, we is clothed with the sun, meaning we is black. Huh? So this is talking about the black nation. And it says, and the moon under her feet. The moon was still a part of the earth at that time. Way back. And it says, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars. Well, the crown of 12 stars was the 12 rulers. The 12, and that's where you got, as the messenger said, that's how you got to the term 12 inches in a ruler. You see, because that's how we ruled. We had 12 rulers, and they would pass the knowledge of God, the knowledge that would grant dominion to a student. Each one would teach a student. And it was always 12, as they say, 12 major and 12 minor scientists. Do you understand? And so that went on for eons, trillions of years. And we reached a point where even when people came up with ideas of how to maybe build a better civilization or whatnot, try this and try that, try this and try that, they couldn't come up with nothing new. And as Solomon said, there is nothing new under the sun. Under the present light of understanding, there is nothing new. That which has been will be. And that which will be is that which has already been. Huh? So, 50,000 years ago, one of our scientists, his name was Shabazz. And his name is not mentioned in the Holy Quran, but the meaning of his name is mentioned. He taketh the kingdom from whom he pleases, and he gives the kingdom to whom he pleases. Well, the Shabazz is a name which means greater taker. Do you understand? And so, that is what you notice. Even the way that it speaks of the one that he prophesied that he could produce. It says, and the Lamb took the book. Huh? Yeah, you notice I took the book from them. I didn't go to their theological seminaries. I've taken the book away from the theological seminaries that are out here misteaching the scriptures, adding their own understanding to a word that they did not author. Huh? Allah is the author of truth. The truth is the author of the truth. What gave you a right to go in there and revise it? When you revised it, you created an illusion and a delusion. You deluded yourself and you created an illusion to people who were stupid enough or dumb enough to follow you. If you look at the word revise, you'll see that it is the root word of revisualize. Huh? So anyway, let us go into these things in in-depth way. I told you chapter 45, but it's actually chapter 43 of Isaiah. It says, and it's the 3rd chapter of the Holy Quran. This is for all of these people that accuses me of boasting on myself. And as the messenger said, I'm not boasting on myself, I'm bragging on Allah. Huh? Well, that's what all of them did. They boasted on me. I didn't boast. I'm not boasting on me. I'm just reading to you what they said. Huh? All right. In the 81st verse of the 3rd chapter of the Holy Quran, it says, and when Allah made a covenant through the prophets, the covenant is these holy scriptures here. That's the covenant. Allah made this through the prophets. God works through people. That's what we've heard all our lives. Huh? All right. When you see a person building a house, when you see a person, when a doctor is operating in the operating room, when you see a pilot flying an airplane or a helicopter, when you see a typist or a secretary using a typewriter, when you see a man building a typewriter, you are seeing the truth working through people. Do you understand? God works through people. I don't know you. Know ye not that ye are the temple of God? Okay, now let's go. It says, and when Allah made a covenant through the prophets, certainly what I have given you of book and wisdom. This is what he said to them. He said, then a messenger comes to you, verifying that which is with you. You shall believe in him and you shall aid him. And he said to them, do you affirm and accept my compact in this matter? Do you agree with and accept my compact with you? Do we have an agreement here? And they said, we do affirm. Said, yeah. All of them, they agreed. Huh? Yes. And so he said, then bear witness. Bear witness to what? Bear witness to this messenger of the covenant, who is referred to as the Lord of men, the King of men, and the God of men. Do you understand? Because if there's going to be a judgment of men, then it is unjust to judge flesh and blood by something that is not flesh and blood, or by someone that is not flesh and blood. So the word had to be made flesh before the word could judge you, because a book cannot be merciful. A book cannot empathize with you. But if you make the book into a flesh and blood human being, then that book becomes, it gains the ability to be merciful, to show empathy and sympathy, and to be just. Because now the book can feel what you feel. The book can experience what you experience. So in all of your affliction, now the book could be afflicted with and see what you've been going through. Before you accuse, criticize, and abuse me, you need to walk a mile or two in my shoes. Huh? Experience what I've experienced. It's like all of these people walking around here talking about my crazy people. Well, I tell you what, since you think you qualified to judge us, have you been through 400 years of the hell that we've been through? Let's see you go through what we've been through, and then you come out and show us how much better you could act than us. But you ain't never been through what we've been through. So you are not qualified to judge no so-called Negro in America. I'm the only one qualified to judge black people in America. Even they ain't got another black man in this country that's qualified to judge us. Because he's still a victim of what he's judging. I've overcome it. That's why I can stand up here and talk and don't have to be defensive. Ain't no white man or no white woman or no white group or no black man, black woman or black group can put me on the defensive. You ain't got nothing to attack me with. What? What do you need to correct me on? You ain't even have sense enough to appreciate my presence among you. You didn't appreciate the presence of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, regardless to the good he was doing. Let me show you something here. You didn't never see this on the news. Never. They knew what he was doing, and they knew it was right. Let me show you here. You know, these people is something, man. But I'm not going to let you get away with it.
In the name of Allah, who came in the person of Master Farad Muhammad, and in the name of his true servant and last apostle, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, Salam Alaikum. First of all, brothers and sisters, I would like to thank the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Nation of Islam for allowing me to attempt to represent them as the National Secretary. You know, the Bible says that the last messenger will have a government upon his shoulders. Right. Now this obviously must mean that the man has to be the foundation and the support for a new nation. A look at the accomplishments of the government established by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad proves beyond a shadow of a doubt that he is this man. Go ahead, National Secretary. As a foundation, we have Muhammad's temples in every city of America. Go ahead, we have temples in Bermuda, Jamaica, Honduras, and even in England. Right. Educationally, we have Muhammad Universities of Islam in 46 cities. This man is truly building the foundation for a nation. In transportation, we have a fleet of cross-country tractor trailers, the most modern. We have a fixed base operation, air aviation department in Gary, Indiana. Now we know that America also has many aircraft that, although excellent in design and suitable for use, they are grounded. We are already in contact with America to purchase some of these. Under the leadership of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, we are negotiating for the purchase of 2 or 3 cargo ships to carry across the ocean the various products purchased for our people in foreign countries. In fact, the first shipload of fish from the unpolluted waters around the South American country of Peru has already arrived in Mobile, Alabama.
Now before I let it finish, white people, how come you didn't show black people in this country what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was doing? How come you didn't show that? It's because you never wanted to see us free even when we were of no more utility to you. At least none that you would like to speak of. You see, but if we hadn't been here running this thing for you, you couldn't have been all around the world making mischief, because you'd have had to been here taking care of your own country. But you had us here strategically placed in positions to run things for you. You saw the space program, the Hidden Figures. You saw all them black women was computers for them. And all of this kind of thing. We over here use for spare parts in a society of people that hate us. The only thing they looked at us as tools and slaves for them. Now, if I'm lying on white people, come in here and tell the people I'm lying on you and face me. If I'm not properly representing Islam, you who are overseas in all of these places that's listening to me, come in and face me and tell me what I'm misrepresenting about Islam. I stood up here in the cradle of Western civilization, not hiding, but right out in the open, telling the whole world that I am the Mahdi of Islam. Now, why aren't you condemning that if I'm not telling the truth? And if I am telling the truth, why aren't you helping me? But you go and kiss a rock at your service. How come you're not at my service? Every word that I spoke to every one of y'all, you're going to pay. You're going to pay a price for how you acted. You're going to either receive a reward, or you're going to receive a punishment, which is a reward. Everybody is going to answer for what I said to you. Look at what this man was doing. Even when the national secretary was standing up there talking, he was talking in his sleep. For you heard him say, this means that this man is the support and the foundation for a new nation, or for a nation. The messenger told him he was here to lay a foundation for a new nation. Now that the builder of the new nation is here, they want to act surprised. It's because they wasn't paying no attention to him. Check them texts and stuff. I want to hear from people who say that I'm not what I claim to be. What you say? Well, you know, he's through. He's through. No, to hell with him. So we are showing you this was all going on in America here, and a lot of you all, your grandparents and your parents, now your parents, a lot of them, they saw this and would not help and called it hate teaching.
of fish, or roughly 2,200,000 pounds. The second ship is already on its way. This one will carry 1,200 metric tons. And brothers and sisters, under the leadership of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, this will continue each month for the next year, at least. The only difference being that the poundage will increase. In order to be totally independent in this venture, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad has ordered the purchase of warehouse and cold storage facilities there in Mobile, Alabama. Negotiations are already underway, and we expect to spend at least $1 million to prepare this facility for our imports. Now, we must remember that it hurts our enemy to see us in these broad fields. The messenger has taught us that the dragon will go behind the messenger to try to
And if that wasn't true, that it didn't hurt you to see us doing that, why you never put it in the news? You put in the news when black people is shooting each other. You put in the news when you find black people that rob somebody. You put in the news when you find black people dealing drugs or doing something that's evil. But when you saw the good that we was doing under the guidance of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, you didn't say nothing. Except that you tried to say that we teach hate. I still call white people devils. How come you don't come in here and tell me I'm teaching hate? Tell me in front of the whole world that I'm teaching hate against you. You didn't seem to think it was hate teaching when Evel Knievel said he was a daredevil. You didn't seem to think it was hatred when you used the terms Nixon was a tricky devil. You called Burt Reynolds and what's his name? What's the other? Elizabeth Taylor's Richard Burton. Handsome devils. And a poor devil. You just, well, speak of the devil. Those was your words. You didn't call it hate teaching when you was using it. But when the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said God revealed to us that you are the real devil, and then you say it's hate teaching. You ain't yet said it's a lie. You said it's hate teaching. You see, I'm here to verify what all of the messengers of God said. Now, which messenger of God do you have anything that you say he said that wasn't true? What did Jesus say that you think was a lie? Yeah, I'm talking to the Jews now. You say Jesus was not the messenger of God. That you don't accept nothing in the gospel. Why? On what do you base not accepting Jesus? What you read it now where Jesus said you was of your father the devil, and you didn't like that. But you don't come out and tell us what was wrong with it. Now come on, this is your chance to tell us why you say you claim you accept everything up to Malachi. But I done had a couple of you boys come in here, your rabbis, or people that claim to be rabbis or scholars of Judaism, to come in here and talk with me. And I found out that they don't accept what they claim they accept. You know, you got your rituals too, that you leave a door ajar for Elijah. You leave a door ajar for the Messiah. You leave a door, a seat at the table of the Passover for whatever you call it, for Elijah. And when Elijah showed up, of course, I never hear you just outright say nothing about the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. But I'll tell you this. I'm the one that I'm the Messiah that Elijah was here to raise up. Now, who don't believe I'm the Messiah? Come on and tell me that you don't believe I'm the scriptural Messiah. I'm the messenger of the covenant. I am the Lord. Now, come in and tell me why I'm not. And tell it in front of the whole world. You know, people used to say that what I'm doing is, what I'm building here is a cult. But, you know, just like that lying Donald Trump, he could get on any news station that's playing that, that hearing, anytime he wanted to. If he thought that he could refute anything that was being said about him, he wouldn't be sitting up there tweeting and pretending that he's not being heard or whatnot. He could have been heard anytime he wanted to. But he don't want to go in no forum where people can really argue with him and ask him questions. Real questions. You understand? You can come in here and ask me all the questions you want. Come on. This ain't no cult of personality I'm building here. Come on in here with your big mouth self. Come on in here and put your questions to me. I can't think of no right now. Yeah, every time I come on, you can't think of none. You know why? Because you're losing your mind. You can't think at all pretty soon. That's why the scripture said, seek ye the Lord while he may be found by you. I told you, your minds is being taken. You think that this is some joke. You know, you have seen lakes dry up. You have seen lakes that were filled with fish that lost their underground source of water or whatnot and wasn't getting enough rain and whatnot, during a drought. Pretty soon, all the life in the lake will die. Die from its own pollution. From their own pollution. Like, you remember when Apollo 13? Apollo 13 was out there and something went wrong, and pretty soon their scrubbers, their CO2 scrubbers was being overtaxed, and they was starting to be killed slowly. They were slowly dying from their own carbon dioxide. And they had to do something in order to make that replace the CO2 scrubbers. And they showed them how to build it and whatnot from stuff that was on there, and they got it back going. But if they couldn't have got them scrubbers built, they'd have died up there from their own carbon dioxide emissions. You understand? Well, it's just like you. This internet is killing y'all. That which was a tool and is a tool for me is destroying you. I even see stuff on there that I say, boy, this is something here. And they say, boom, It's all kind of garbage on the internet. And you steady going on there feeding yourself that garbage? It's killing you. It's killing your country. You are being polluted with propaganda, with lies, they call them theories. They ain't nothing but lies. A theory is not, when you use the term theory on a lie, you are misrepresenting what's happening there. In the scientific community, when they call something a theory, it's based on some fact and truth. That's what a true theory is. But when this stuff y'all going on there taking in ain't nothing but just bold-faced lies. Made up stories. And you know it. At least you used to know it. But at one point, when they was turning all the equipment back on Apollo 13, the man had to take a note off of the console, and he looked at at his fellow astronaut, and he said, I made me a note not to eject the pod while y'all was still in it. Because that carbon dioxide was robbing him of his thought process. You understand? So he made a note there to make sure he didn't flip the wrong switch there. And the other one said, good thinking. And that's what happens. When the brain gets, see, you all don't really understand what's going on with these. When I was listening to the scientists saying that this virus was novel, and they didn't know how much it affects. They know it had some effect on the brain, but they don't know exactly what. But it has effects on all parts of many different parts of the body. Now you've seen that on the where the CDC had Dr. Fauci and all of them had talked about it. They didn't know enough about it for them to give us any cut and dry answers. And but that thing was getting in our lungs and robbing us of oxygen. If the minute your body is not getting enough oxygen, your brain, something is going to affect your thinking. So you got to be careful to listen. When scientists, people who studied a thing, you should listen to them. If you ain't studied it, how can you argue about it? When I argue with some facts that I know, based on some facts that I know. If you hear me arguing with a person, it's because I done studied some facts that contradict something they telling me. But man, I'm looking around at all of these people out here, road rage and all of this it's some terrible stuff going on in this country. Now, I don't know what's producing it. But I know one thing, guns and crazy don't go together. And y'all better do something about all these guns you putting in the hands of these people. That is, if you want to save your country. So this is what we were doing when the messenger was here. We have been we had been stopping the violence that was in the black community. Crime was almost non-existent in the black community when the messenger had all them Muhammad's temples. We'd be riding up and down the street in the evening, seeing people walking and say, hey brother, come on, go to the temple with me. Sister, you want to come hear the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad? And they call it fishing. And we'd go out and we'd bring guests to the temple and let them hear the truth. And some of the very brothers who was raising hell in the black community joined the Nation of Islam under the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and started protecting our communities instead of terrorizing them. Do you understand? How come you didn't say that? How come you didn't show that? You always try to figure out ways to hurt us when we never attacked your capital. I didn't hear you. When you was at war with Germany and Japan, black pilots was escorting your bombers when you was fighting Adolf Hitler. Y'all got it. You made a record of it. While some of your white pilots was purposely taking the bait of the German Luftwaffe to have an excuse because they was afraid to face all of that flak and face those fighters head on. So they chased some and, and was letting the bombers be shot down. And they were supposed to have been escorting the bomber. If you want to go look at Red Tails and go look at the Tuskegee Airmen. It's there. Then made the black pilots give up their seat for German prisoners. I mean, we've been treated worse than you treat animals. By you. It's just like right now. You see us on the internet. Here you sit there and you watch and you listen and you lie on us. Accused us of giving out misinformation about COVID when we ain't never gave no misinformation out about COVID. Never. I don't stand up and pass on gossip. Even heard me playing something from Farrakhan telling people don't get vaccinated. And they tried to suggest that I was giving out misinformation while I was correcting the lies that Farrakhan was telling. Well, I don't appreciate you slandering me, printing something libelous, or giving us some libelous statements as a justification for you trying to cancel our broadcast. I see why the court system is so full. So, now I'm not interested in fighting you to be on, you know, on something that you wouldn't have without our tax money helping to put it there. You didn't invent the internet. It was paid for by American taxpayers, which I happen to be one of the American people who, anybody that live in this country is a taxpayer if they ever buy anything. Tell me what I'm teaching that American citizens need to be protected from. Tell me. And I'll stop teaching it. Just tell me what it is I'm teaching that people need to be protected from. What am I lying about? What am I giving misinformation about? Tell me. Tell me now. Don't get in no little closet somewhere and make up something. Come out here and tell me in front of the people that I'm saying this in front of. I offered $50,000 in my life if you can prove that I'm standing up lying. Here you let that sycophant Donald Trump stand up there and tell people all kind of lies about COVID, and you never took him off. Then I stand up and tell the truth about it, and you call it misinformation. It's not misinformed information. It is informed information that I'm sharing with the people. When they took Donald Trump to the hospital and his oxygen level was in the 80s, that was because of COVID. And they had to get his oxygen level back up because that thing was in his lungs, obviously, stopping them from functioning properly. And when your brain is deprived of oxygen, if it's deprived of oxygen too long, you will get brain damage. And I'm told that over 6 minutes, you'll be brain dead. So you don't tell me that I'm giving out misinformation and won't come in here and tell me. And so I've told you that I'm not interested in giving out misinformation. If I tell you something that is not true, that I heard from another source that we have all trusted, like Dr. Fauci and some of these other people, these other scientists. I haven't heard Dr. Fauci say something that you have proved him wrong on. I recorded the things that they said. So, we all going to answer for what we let fly out of our mouths. And remember now that internet is your mouthpiece. Your mouthpiece is just passing through that mechanical instrument. Do you understand? So, I'm not a person who don't recognize that you have to have rules that you abide by. Name a game that don't have no rules. Name anything that any field of endeavor that don't have laws and rules that govern that field. Freedom of speech is a freedom that is governed and should be governed by equally to all by the freedom to speak is also the freedom that you should have responsibility of what you speak and that it should be true. At least you should have some facts that you're basing it on. Do you understand? Or you should not speak it. The thing you do, the thing I do, is when people come in here and tell me something that I don't think is right or whatever, I say, well, where'd you get that from? Let me see what your source of that is. Do you understand? How come they don't ask me for my sources? Because they're making it up. Do you understand? Don't make up a lie and accuse me of something you made up. I look like standing up here lying to the people and calling myself the Son of Man. The Son of Man can't be a liar. God ain't never chose a liar for his representative. That's how you know them crooks that was calling themselves evangelicals and all of that supporting Donald Trump. You know good and well they didn't think God sent Donald Trump. No, God said he will turn them over as they did not like to retain God in their knowledge. He turned them over to a reprobate mind. Huh? He didn't send the reprobate mind. He just left them alone and turned them over to their inordinacy. You hear me? All right. So brother, I tell all of you all, the truth has come. And the truth can be found by you if you have a rational mind. Seek ye the Lord while he may be found by you. Now you see why Isaiah said that. Yeah. And once your mind becomes irrational, there's nothing no one can say to you that's going to help you. Now, I want all of these people that even the nation, when W.D. Muhammad took over, what did W.D. Muhammad do or teach that was greater than what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was doing and was teaching? The one thing that you will notice about what I'm teaching, no one can argue with it. They can't even start an argument about it. Let me hear you start an argument with me about what I'm teaching. You know why they can't argue with me? Because they can't argue with the Holy Scriptures. The Holy Scripture says what I say. That's what Allah told me to do. He said, speak with his words to you. Whether they will hear or whether they will reject it. Forbear. For they are most rebellious. That's what he said. They are most rebellious. And Prophet Muhammad and Solomon both, they said the same thing. When Prophet Muhammad was asked, how many for hell? He said 999 out of every 1,000. That's most rebellious. Cast into hell every ungrateful, rebellious one. Huh? Everyone who forbears and rebels, cast them in hell. That's what was ready. That's what was prepared. As he said, that's what was ready with me. Well, the Bible says it was cast into hell that was prepared for the devil and his angels. Huh? Yeah. Cast them into the lake of fire. So, you think it's a joke, but it ain't. Do you have anybody responding to me?
No, sir. Somebody has a hand raised.
And to try to turn the people of these countries away from Muhammad. But I tell you, they will not be successful. We who love and follow this great man, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, will fight to the death to hold on to what he has gained for us. What he has gained for us, we cannot and will not give up. That's right. Now, I personally can bear witness to the love, to the honor, and respect that the people of the world have for the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Nation of Islam. I have traveled completely around the world as the National Secretary of the Nation of Islam. And everywhere that I have gone, the response to the messages that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad has sent me with were tremendous. In Japan, in Africa, in the Middle East, in South America, they always respond positively to his program. The messenger, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, is moving to establish trade routes across the narrow strip of ocean between South America and Africa. He is also moving toward China. will be traveling to China very soon. The trip has already been set. Brothers and sisters, this is why we need the help of every black man, woman, and child in the halls of North America. The world of the black man has extended their arms to Muhammad, and we must be ready to grasp their hands. Here in Chicago, brothers and sisters, again under the divine leadership of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, we have deposited $1 million to prove our intent in the purchase of the South Shore Country Club. This is some 59.4 acres of land, which the Honorable Elijah Muhammad will use for uplifting projects, like universities and hospitals. You know, Christians have hospitals all around us, but we must build our own. By summertime, we expect to have a fleet of pleasure boats on the lake. We also will soon purchase a large yacht for movement along the Atlantic coast. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad is going to build the south side of Chicago and make it beautiful for the black man like the white man has made the north side of Chicago. Already he has had constructed $1.5 million sales and office building, which the black contractor, Mr. Ernest Bush, has almost completed. Now we have opened the building for the information center and for tours. But as soon as Mr. Bush turns the keys to this building over to the Honorable Muhammad, he will be told to break ground on the next one.
Just think about it. What if we had continued on the path that he had set us on in 1974? What if we had continued? Just think where we would be now. For 40-something years, he was working with us, working with our people, and I mean, you're about to see a lot of the things that the businesses that by the time that his work was done, he had showed us what we are capable of. Do you understand? And they was willing to throw it all away to go get back up under the slave master. Just listen and look.
In our business enterprises during the past year, we moved toward $50 million in income. Which of course is only a beginning. We have only scratched the surface, because what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad has in his head for us, we cannot imagine. This is only the beginning, brothers and sisters, and if we obey him and follow him and join with him, the black people in the hells of North America will soon have, in truth, that totally independent nation that our leader and teacher has been teaching us for. Move right along, brothers and sisters, I would like to just read to you a list of some of the enterprises of the Nation of Islam. You know, this nation that they talk about that operates mom and pop shops. We'll show you exactly what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is truly doing. Salam Restaurant, the Muslim import stores, the Muslim fish house, the Shabazz grocery store, the Shabazz bakery and coffee shop, Temple number 2 clothing store and office building, the new sales and office building on 78th Street, the Guarantee Bank and Trust Company, Progressive Land Developers, Good Foods Incorporated, which is meats, produce, and eggs, Chicago Land Packers, a national trucking system, an aviation department at Gary, Indiana, Muhammad Speaks newspaper plant, which is a cold storage and warehouse, over 200 apartment units, not to speak of the single-family dwellings that he has put his followers in. Farms in Michigan, farms in Georgia, farms in Alabama. Over 150 temples in North America, Bermuda, Jamaica, and Honduras. Over 46 Muhammad universities of Islam. In the planning stage, a 500-bed hospital, a new Islamic university, the Temple number 2 renovations, and the new university at the Temple number 2 on Stony Island Avenue. The Cottage Grove redevelopment plan, which runs from 78th Street to 87th Street on the east side of Chicago, east side of Cottage Grove, in the design stage. The Phoenix, Arizona development proposal, which is also in the design stage. Salam Snack Shop, Your Supermarket, Shabazz Bacon, Shabazz Barbershop, Shabazz Restaurant, Capital Cleaners, National Clothing Factory, National Fairs Factory, and again residential homes. This is what our leader and teacher, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, is leading us to.
And that was just in Chicago. and some of the stuff that we was doing, they didn't even show you what was going on out on the West Coast. You know, where I was, you know, we had temples. We had the temple on Central in Santa Barbara. We had one in Watts. We had another one on the west side. And we had the supermarket on Florence, and I think it was Florence and Figueroa. We had Shabazz Good Foods. We had a grocery store on Jefferson on the west side. And, you know, we had our gas station. We had a lot of things. And it just, you know, it was really, we had a bakery that took up a whole block. I don't know if it was 2 stories or 3 stories. I think it was 3 stories. 3-story bakery. And them big old giant ovens in it and whatnot. I used to drive for the bakery. And, you know, it was just wonderful to be in something that was ours. And but the people, as the messenger said, the nation was honeycombed with hypocrites. You know, hypocrisy is this, in this sense. They like the money, the good homes, and that kind of thing. But they wasn't really righteous. They wasn't, you know, they really didn't want to be totally righteous. See, you can't just accept the natural knowledge, the natural things. You know, a bird and beasts, all creatures want food and the necessities of life. That's not righteousness. That's just nature. Righteousness dictates that you love for your brother, your fellows, that which you love for yourself. That's something that's hard to get any people to do. Not just black people here in America. You can't find that no place on this earth where people actually want to see their neighbors living as nice as themselves. Just travel through the earth and you will always see rich communities and poor communities. You won't never see a country where all of the people, you ain't never seen that in this world, where people truly love their neighbor as they love themselves. Even in families. You know, you got families where you got some members living large and their siblings living in poverty. And that is the way of this world. You can't stand to see other people with what you have. You just that empty. And if you don't change, you're not going to be on our planet. That's not the kind of world that's coming. The world that's coming in is as I was telling one of my brothers, that we live in an infinite universe. I mean, Allah is independent. And how do you know that Allah is independent? Look at the earth. Look how everything that's, as we was riding, and We was looking at fields and fields. I mean, this is some beautiful, the earth is beautiful. We was looking at fields and fields of beautiful green grass. I said, now that grass looks like somebody went over there with a lawnmower, don't it? I said, that's not the case. You see them cattle? You know, that's why farmers need lots of acreage if they're going to raise cattle. Because the cattle and the livestock that they have, that grass is kept cut down by them. They come to, you notice every time you see cattle, they either eating or laying down. You see? And so he walking around just eating it. That grass looked like a mower bent over it. And I said he need more than one field, because while a pasture, they call them pastures, while the cattle are eating up one field, the other field that they've been eating in and fertilizing at the same time, is growing up. And so he just moves them from one pasture to another. And it just keeps it all cut down really nice and whatnot. I said, now the Creator, he defined the grass. He supplied the grass as a means for most of livestock to feed off of. And that's why elephants eat grass, horses eat grass, cattle eat grass, sheep eat grass, and all of them eat to a different point. And so it's a plan. You start to see that this is planned. And why? Because the universe is infinite. You don't need to set something in motion that you got to keep coming back seeing after it. Make it where it can see after itself. And where you can just go on and make a planet here, make a planet over there, make a planet over there, and just keep doing it. And you ain't got to come back and check on it. It is self-sustaining. Do you understand? That's how we know that Allah is independent. By His works. You know a man by his works, and you know God by His works. He's independent. So everything He makes is independent. Do you understand? That's the bird. When you watch him building a nest, you would think he went to school for that. You twisting all them straws and stuff around there. He makes his nest, and he says, "I wonder how he got there. What school did he go to?" It's in his head. That's given to him to make sure he don't have to depend on another bird or nothing else to do what he does. Do you understand? Insects, or just most of the insects, they are just food. And life is the preservative. And so, it's many things that we take for granted. We live in a universe that is created with truth, and we don't know the truth. Because we really haven't been seeking the truth. So, so the rather than say growth that's readily available and sufficient for sustenance, we just say grass. Do you understand? Rather than say President of the United States, we just say POTUS. So this language, white people didn't give us this language. We gave it to them. They didn't give birth to us. We gave birth to them. And now we are awakening to who we are. And, this is, as I said, you have not known God. They got a song. You don't know me, but I'm your brother. And I was raised here in this living hell. You don't know my kind in your world. You don't understand my kind in your world. You don't understand Jesus, Moses, David, and Solomon, those who are like me. But fairly soon, the time will tell. Yeah. So, you keep on believing the lies that people like Donald Trump and all of them been telling you. You're gonna regret that. So, you had a chance. I've given all of you a chance. I even told you I ain't caring about what you would have done and used to do. Just change. Be willing to change and you will be forgiven. I don't care what you did. All I want to know is, what do you want to continue to do? That's what I'm concerned about. What is your future plans? You intend to do better, or you intend to keep on doing the stuff you? This ain't something that I made up here now. Now I'm gonna go on over here. We got time. I'm gonna go into this 1 John, the book of 1 John, and we're gonna go to the first chapter. Now, you know, 1 John is that little book over there in the back. Is close to Revelation. It's before you get to Jude, and let me see what else. Matter of fact, I think it's right before Jude. Yep. It's right before Jude. You know, like, hey Jude. Huh? Yeah. So it says, that which was from the beginning, which we have heard, which we have seen with our eyes, which we have looked upon, and our hands have handled of the word of life. Huh? Now let's read it where you can see it. That which was from the beginning. What did Isaiah say? Isaiah said in the 50, let me see here. One of these chapters here, I like it because he starts off saying this. He said, well, I know Jamal will find it for me. The Spirit of the Lord is upon me. Where's that? Which one? Chapter 61. Yeah, I know it opens up with the words, the Spirit of the Lord is upon me. Here it is. Yes, the 61st chapter of Isaiah. It says, the Spirit of the Lord God, know ye that the Lord, what? He is God. Okay, it says, the Spirit of the Lord God is upon me. Remember Jesus said, the words that I speak unto you, they are spirit and they are life. Let's find that. Because as I told you, I didn't understand these books. Allah guided me to the hidden understanding of it. He says in the 62nd verse of the 6th chapter of the book of John, it says, what if you shall see the Son of Man ascend up where he was before? What if you shall see the mind of the Son of Man go up into the Holy Scriptures where it came down from? It is the Spirit that quickeneth. It is the mind that goeth up. You know, as a man thinketh, that's what he is. Because the flesh is the slave to the mind. And it is one with the mind. Huh? Okay. when a person's brain ceases to function as a mind, you call that person's state a permanent vegetative state. It don't make no difference because the body is alive. If there's no mind there, it has no keeper. You understand? And so it has no purpose. Kind of like that Vorlon ship when Kosh died. It went out and self-destructed because it had no more purpose. So, anyway, well, let's, I know some of y'all kept up with Babylon 5. So, but anyway, so look what he says. The Spirit of the Lord God is upon me. And Jesus said, the words, it is the Spirit that quickeneth, the flesh profiteth nothing. The words that I speak unto you, they are spirit, and they are life. Okay. So the Word of God is spirit, and the Word of God is life. Now go back over there to 1 John. It says, that which was from the beginning. Remember the scripture says, I am the beginning and the ending, saith who? Well, that which was from the beginning, that which was from the Lord, which we have heard, which we have foreseen with our eyes, with our minds, with our spiritual eyes, which we have looked upon, and our hands have handled of the word of God. Huh? It says, for the life was manifested, the word was manifested, and we have seen it. We have foreseen it. And we bear witness. What did Allah say do? Then bear witness. And I too am of the bearers of witness with you. And it says, and we have seen and bear witness and show unto you that eternal truth, that eternal life, which was with the Father, the truth, and the one who brought it, the Lord, the Spirit of truth, which was with the Spirit of truth. Remember Jesus called the Spirit of truth the Father? Then it says, and was manifested unto us, was made known unto us. Huh? In a mystery. That which we have seen and heard declare we unto you, that you also may have fellowship with us, may have brotherhood with us. And truly our fellowship is with the Father, is with the truth, the Spirit of truth. When the Son of Man shall come in his glory and all of the fellowshipping angels with him. I didn't hear you. You notice. Fellow worship, fellow worship. Yes. Well, we say shorten it with the fellowship. And then it says, and with his Son and his Christ. Not with his Son, Jesus Christ. With his Son and his Christ. Do you understand? And when the Son of Man shall come and his Christ with him. All right. And these things write we unto you, that your joy may be full. This then is the message which we have heard of him and declare unto you. See, all of them was told about my coming, and they gave bits and pieces of the mind that would be in me. And that's why it was of me. Do you understand? I am in the Father, and the Father is in me. I am prophesied of in the truth, and the truth's prophecy is made known through me. Then it says, and declare unto you that God is light. God is the truth. God is the understanding. God is not just the understanding, God is the understander. And in him is no darkness at all. And in him is no misunderstanding at all. That's why I tell people come up and say, son, man don't understand. What you think you talking about? I don't understand. Couldn't be you don't understand. I'm the one don't understand. Yeah, okay. It's just like when I tell them what the Second Amendment means. How come they don't come in here and try to argue that with me? The one question I could ask them, if they did not mean militias, why did they start it off with a well-regulated militia being necessary? Why didn't they just say the right of the people of the United States to keep and to bear arms shall not be infringed? Why didn't they just say that? Why did they preface it with militias? And you notice, the right of the military to keep and to bear any kind of weapons has never been questioned. Unless the military was the one questioning it and deciding that they didn't need it. I didn't hear you. Yeah. You liars. Why don't you come in here and show me I don't know what I'm talking about? Show me the darkness that's in me. Here, I can open up to understanding of God's word, but you too heavy for me. Is anything too hard for God? If he opened up his word to me, what make you think that he didn't open up yours to me? He opened it and no man can shut it. And he shut it and no man can open it. But him. All right. It says, if we say that we have fellowship with him and walk in ignorance, walk in darkness, we lie and do not the truth. And do not the truth. When the last time I ordered you to do something and somebody came to you and told you that you was wrong for doing that? When? But if we walk in the light, as he is in the light, if we walk in the light of understanding, as he is in the light of understanding, we have fellowship one with another. Yes. We have fellow worship one with another. When we speak and ship words out of our mouths, our fellows, everyone who is in our brotherhood, they speak the same as we speak. We have fellowship one with another, and the blood of Christ cleanseth us from all sin. The blood of Christ through his Son, through Allah's Son, through the Son, not his Son, through the Son. You notice, when the teachings of the prophets through me comes to you, it cleanses you from all your sinful behavior. It purifies your thoughts, and that's what you need in order to cleanse people of sin. You cannot remove people's sins if you're not able to cast out the thoughts that caused them to do those sins. Do you understand? If we say that we have no sin, we deceive ourselves. And the truth is not in us. You can't know the truth of God and claim that you don't have no sin. Do you understand? That you don't have no thoughts, no sinful thoughts. Yes, you do. You couldn't help but have sinful thoughts living in a sinful world. Do you understand? So that's not what you're being blamed for. But if we confess our sins, He is faithful. The Son of Man hath power on earth to forgive sins. Why would I be given the power to forgive sins if I'm not willing to forgive sins and exercise that power? I didn't hear you. I have faith in the Word of God that it's okay to forgive sins to whoever asks. If we confess, what did it say? If we confess our sins, He is faithful and just to forgive us of our sins and to cleanse us from all unrighteousness. Yeah. To teach them the book and purify them. Teach them the book and the instructions and purify them. Cleanse them of all unrighteousness. Now if we say that we have not sinned, we make Him a liar. And His word is not in us. You see? Who thinks that they are not sinning but someone who has ignored the Word of God? Who has no knowledge of the Word of God. And ignorance of that is no longer an excuse. If I had not come and spoken unto them, they would not have had knowledge that they were sinning. But now they have no cloak. So you see. So when I told you, and the messenger told you before me, he said, he don't hold you responsible for nothing that you did before him. He just said, let's go from here. He told you that that's what I would do. You know, it's just like people who saw the good man who hired people to work in his vineyard, and he hired them for a penny. And they agreed. And so at the end of the day, he went out and found others that was just working about an hour before it was quitting time. And he asked them, why are you standing around here idle? And they said, because no man have given us work. He said, well, I tell you what, you go and work in my field for the rest of the day, and I'll give you whatever I think, whatever is good. And so when it came time to pay everybody, he gave everybody the same thing. And those who had been out there longer thought that they should get more. But that's just the way people are. They think that just because you have been practicing righteousness, that somehow God owes you something. The righteousness that you practice was benefiting you. How do anybody who guides you to righteousness owe you something for guiding you to righteousness? You get the same reward that anyone gets. You get forgiveness for all of the wrong that you had did before you start practicing righteousness. Everybody gets forgiven. Whether you're black, white, brown, or yellow. Now, if that ain't enough for you, bye. Now, I'll say this. I want you to hear something else here. This is something that I recorded that and I played it yesterday in prayer service. But this is a well, it's a lot of things Ronald Reagan said that people didn't. They try to pretend that they are respecters of Ronald Reagan, just like people pretend to be respecters of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. But when you look at what they are saying and doing, you realize that that's just hypocrisy. They lying. They using someone that they know other people respect to try to get people to look kindly upon them. And they go to putting words in the mouth of Ronald Reagan or the Honorable Elijah Muhammad or Jesus or whatever. You know, they're putting words in their mouth that they never said and they would never have said. So, matter of fact, let me show you something here. You could just go down the line today. Watch this.
Thank you very much. Chancellor Kohl, Governing Mayor Diepken, ladies and gentlemen, 24 years ago, President John F. Kennedy visited Berlin. And speaking to the people of this city and the world at the City Hall, well, since then, 2 other presidents have come, each in his turn, to Berlin. And today, I myself make my 2nd visit to your city. We come to Berlin, we American presidents, because it's our duty to speak in this place of freedom. But I must confess, we're drawn here by other things as well, by the feeling of history in this city, more than 500 years older than our own nation, by the beauty of the Grunwald and the Tiergarten, most of all, by your courage and determination. Perhaps the composer Paul Linke understood something about American presidents. You see, like so many presidents before me, I come here today because wherever I go, whatever I do, ich hab noch keinen Koffer in Berlin. Our gathering today is being broadcast throughout Western Europe and North America. I understand that it is being seen and heard as well in the East. To those listening throughout Eastern Europe, I extend my warmest greetings and the goodwill of the American people. To those listening in East Berlin, a special word. Although I cannot be with you, I address my remarks to you just as surely as to those standing here before me. For I join you, as I join your fellow countrymen in the West, in this firm, this unalterable belief, es gibt nur ein Berlin. Behind me stands a wall that encircles the free sectors of this city, part of a vast system of barriers that divides the entire continent of Europe. From the Baltic south, those barriers cut across Germany in a gash of barbed wire, concrete, dog runs, and guard towers. Farther south, there may be no visible, no obvious wall, but there remain armed guards and checkpoints all the same. Still a restriction on the right to travel. Still an instrument to impose upon ordinary men and women the will of a totalitarian state. Yet it is here in Berlin where the wall emerges most clearly. Here, cutting across your city, where the news photo and the television screen have imprinted this brutal division of a continent upon the mind of the world. Standing before the Brandenburg Gate, every man is a German, separated from his fellow men. Every man is a Berliner, forced to look upon a scar. President von Weizsäcker has said the German question is open as long as the Brandenburg Gate is closed. Today I say, as long as this gate is closed, as long as this scar of a wall is permitted to stand, it is not the German question alone that remains open, but the question of freedom for all mankind.
Now, you notice. You notice when Mr. Reagan in that when he visited there, he didn't talk about the presidents before him as though he couldn't give credit to a Democratic president, Kennedy. He quoted Kennedy and reminded them that presidents of the United States have that in common about coming to Berlin and stuff. There has always been a continuity. Just because the president of the United States changed, they were told to go and have dominion and to be even in the scripture, the devil says, I will sit in the sides of North America and be like the Most High. Up to this point, they had been like the Most High. Presidents changed, but the word of the United States was maintained. Do you understand? The Constitution of the United States was maintained. That's the one thing that made America unique. The one thing that made America, the United States, a great nation was that if a president of the United States made a commitment or an agreement with another nation, if the president changed, the agreement stood. It remained. And oftentimes presidents got into office that didn't like some agreements. But they never, what they say, unilaterally, just on their own, just them alone, without the other person in the agreement, they didn't change the agreement. You understand? And a lot of times the public got angry. That's what happens when you don't inform the public what the duties of a great nation is. The duties of a great nation, if you want to be a shining city on the hill, how long would you believe in a God that every time somebody that he sent, someone came with a word from him, it didn't go along with what he sent before? You wouldn't believe in it no more. You say, oh man, I don't know what this fella going to do. I don't know what your God's going to do. He said this yesterday, now he got something else to say different than that today. He contradicting what he just told me. Huh? You can't find no contradiction in the prophets. Moses and John agreed with each other. Jesus and Ezekiel, all of them, their word agrees with one another. The only thing that changed is the person. But the truth didn't change. I drive on a highway and it really, just like the railroad. The same crew didn't build the whole railroad. It was built in parts. And when they connected with each other, they rejoiced. Because the two ended up putting that last rail in place. And the country was connected from the East Coast to the West Coast. Huh? Highways are like that. Each state, even each cities, have a different crew working on the same highway. And sometimes. Now, I don't know exactly how they have it going, but I know it ain't the same crew working on the highway that they got in California, like Highway 10 and Highway 20. They go from east to west. And it's one highway, but many crews laid it down. Huh? Likewise, the thread that holds the country together is the Constitution and presidents that recognize that without continuity, the United States loses its greatness. Do you understand? And it had continuity in government. If the word of a president was given, if a word of a president of the United States was given to any nation, the president that come behind him, if he wanted to undo that agreement, he had to talk to that nation and renegotiate if they were willing to do so. Otherwise, his hands was tied. Because word has to be bond. A ruler's word has to be his bond. You learn that in the scripture, that where the devil, the king, he had a wife, his queen, I guess his wife, I put it like that, had a daughter. And he had a daughter, and he promised to give his daughter whatever she asked for her birthday. He gave his word to her. And that old mama of hers told her, ask for the head of John the Baptist on a platter, on a charger. And the king was disheartened with that. But his word was out there. And so he kept his word and beheaded John the Baptist. He had John the Baptist beheaded. And but that's how. That goes back to rulers who really ruled. You know, if you put your word out there, you got to keep it. Do you understand? And he wasn't wise enough to make the statement, anything that is lawful for me to give you, I will give you. That would have settled that. You understand? But you have to be careful how you word things when you're a ruler. But anyway, presidents of the United States, that's why you see them gray and you see them age so much, because a lot of promises they made, when they get in office and find out a lot of things that they didn't know before, they realize that they ain't going to be able to keep promises that they made as a candidate, because the word of the United States is what the president represents. He's not just giving his word, he is giving the word of the United States. And you just can't break the word of the United States and stay a powerful nation. Once people realize that your word don't mean nothing, then you have now reduced yourself down to the level of those that you call, use the word banana republics, that's easily peeled away and you can eat them up, you know, and that kind of thing. It's just, you reduce yourself to a status that is hard to recover from. You understand? So you are, it's just like many of you resent me for standing up here saying this. I'm talking about white people. They resent me because I'm right and I'm black. I'm not supposed to know these things. They still it hasn't occurred to them that we let them rule us. They didn't take rulership over us. We let them have it. And we are well able to take it back. As my presence and what I'm standing up here saying to you should be some proof of that. You think you have some power. You ain't got no power. But what we gave you. You better go back to that part that say the fish of the sea. We didn't give you power over water. Are you aware that you 3/4 water? You sure you want to go to war against us? Okay. But let me let you hear something else.
Excuse me, son, man.
Yes?
You have a question from Mike Stratos.
Yes, Mr. Stratos.
And he asks, can you go more in depth on paying what was agreed in relation to overworked people for unfair wages?
Well, first of all, I didn't bring that up. So don't ask me to go more in depth on it, because that's not a subject that I brought up. And as far as saying that we are owed, you know, when you say a person owes you something, then it goes without saying that you made some kind of agreement with them. We didn't make no agreement with white people for slavery. If you understand what I'm saying. Now, one thing I will say this, since you brought it up. White people, when they first got our wise people, our king, to come here, they had promised us gold. They promised us gold and promised him gold if we would come and help them build this up. But that's after John Hawkins and them had got us to trust them. And when the king was brought over here, you know, a snake swallows his prey head first, you see. And because, you know, he ain't got no teeth, so he can't get the feet in his mouth. That creature will kick him and destroy his insides. But if you get the head in the mouth, then he just hold it there and suffocate him. Then he can take his time and his digestive juices can digest him. So that's what they did. It was easy to get us once the king left to see, you know, no ruler sends his people off somewhere and don't go check it out first. So when they got him, all they had to do was say, well, the king sent us back to get some more y'all to come. And so that's how they got many of us. And on a promise of gold, but they never gave it to us. They enslaved us. But when you look at prophecy was that these people, that we would serve them and be afflicted by them for 400 years. And so that was the word of God. You know, that was going to happen. And it didn't say they was going to pay us for it. Do you understand? So that's not, I'm not here to ask them or to tell them that they owe us anything. I'm here to give them a chance to decide that they should do something to help us if they want to. If they don't want to, well, that's fine too. We didn't say, blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy. We didn't say that for no reason. We said that for a reason. You see? You know, those who are actually sorry for how they treated us, how their fathers treated us. Huh? I can tell when you're sorry about something, you try to make amends. If you're not sorry, you don't care. You don't try to make amends. You double down. You understand? So, you know, I mean, I'm not here. In the first place, I really don't need nothing from them. It'd be nice I mean, there's other people got bulldozers and stuff. There's other people, other countries. The Japanese make bulldozers and track holes and backhoes and all of that kind of stuff. Caterpillar and all of these other American countries ain't the only ones that can make those things. There's other countries make airplanes and stuff. I don't actually just have to have something from America, but it would speak well of them if they would offer me some help. But if they don't want to, that's okay. I'm not begging. I don't have to beg anybody to give me anything. Because in reality, everything they got belonged to me anyway. The earth is mine. Everything in it and everything and everybody on it. Now who said that ain't true? Come in here and tell me that the earth don't belong to me. Guess you ain't as stupid as you act. Now let's get back to this. Let me let you see something else.
evening, ladies and gentlemen. We're very pleased tonight to have former Governor Ronald Reagan of California. Rather than making them or talking about putting up a fence, why don't we work out some recognition of our mutual problems, make it possible for them to come here legally with a work permit, and then while they're working and earning here, they pay taxes here. And when they want to go back, they can go back, and they can cross and open the border both ways. I've supported the idea of tuition tax credits also, and the loan program. In California, we had a state scholarship program that was only $4 million when I became governor. It was 43 when I left. If we're talking about how much we think about the working people and so forth, I'm the only fellow that ever ran for this job who was 6 times president of his own union and still has a lifetime membership in that union. The goal for all of us should be that one day things will be done neither because of nor in spite of any of the differences between us, ethnic differences or racial differences, whatever they may be, that we will have total equal opportunity for all people. And I would do everything I could in my power to bring that about. I too am pledged to a Social Security program that will reassure these senior citizens of ours they're going to continue to get their money. If I were president, I would also now take a look at the hundreds of federal regulations which discriminate against women. I would have someone ride herd in those regulations, and we'd start eliminating those discriminations in the federal government against women. That concludes our forum for tonight.
You see the hypocrisy in these people talking about they lifting up Ronald Reagan, and you see all of this hypocrisy that you see going on today. Ronald Reagan wasn't in support of that stuff that these people doing now. Huh? Just a moment. Let me let you see something else. See, you like to lie. You know you live in a world full of liars.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Somebody raised their hand.
Yes, sir. Unmute them. May wa alaikum ala salam. May wa alaikum salam.
Yes, sir. I was looking up, you were talking about the DOD, you know, DC, where the militia are like the 5 noble professions: the farmers, the merchants, the priests, the artists. Then you have the organized, which is the NVA. The NVA or the Spartans, they were the professional warriors.
Wait a minute, brother. Wait a minute.
You're the militia, brother. You're the priest.
I don't want
You're part of the militia. Like the VC.
I
Remember
said
the
I
VC was.
that. Man ain't talking about nothing. And I done told you by coming in here trying to turn my forum into some kind of talk show. Now, I don't want to hear it. And you get on out there and get your own broadcast if you want somebody to hear you just running your mouth about nothing. That ain't got nothing to do with the scriptures and stuff that I'm talking and points that I'm here trying to make. You didn't have no question for me. You just want to come in here and spout off a whole lot of your theories, which ain't no theory at all. It's just your little made up stuff that you done fixed in your mind. Well, don't be coming in here wasting my time. Now, let's see here. Here's another.
I had an assignment the other day. Someone asked me to write a letter for a time capsule that is going to be opened in Los Angeles 100 years from now. Let your own minds turn to that task. You're going to write for people 100 years from now who know all about us. We know nothing about them. We don't know what kind of a world they'll be living in. And suddenly it dawned on me, those who would read this letter 100 years from now will know. They will know whether we met our challenge.
Do I hear somebody over there? Bye-bye. Get them out of here. Get out. Get them out of here. I love the old days. You know what they used to do to guys like that when they were in a place like this? They'd be carried out on a stretcher, folks. Like to punch him in the face, I'll tell you.
Will they look back with appreciation and say, thank God for those people who headed off that loss of freedom, who kept us now 100 years later free?
They're bringing drugs. They're bringing crime. They're rapists. And some, I assume, are good people.
Claiming a person can't do the job because of their race is sort of like the textbook definition of a racist comment.
We've already polled inside the Trump voters, and we know that we're going to carry 75 to 80% of those who are going to vote for Trump.
You think Trump voters are your voters?
Well, of course they are.
Donald J. Trump is calling for a total and complete shutdown of Muslims entering the United States.
Have you even read the United States Constitution?
Will they look back with appreciation and say, thank God for those people who kept our world from nuclear destruction?
Trump asked 3 times. 3 times in an hour briefing. Why can't we use nuclear weapons?
And if we failed, they probably won't get to read the letter at all because it spoke of individual freedom, and they won't be allowed to talk of that or read of it.
The Washington Post joins a growing list of news organizations Trump has banned. Others include Politico, the Des Moines Register, BuzzFeed, the Daily Beast, and the Huffington Post.
You see, with me, they're not protected because I'm not like other people.
Whether they have the freedoms that we have known up until now will depend on what we do here. This is our challenge.
See all these hypocritical people talking about they love Ronald Reagan. Ain't that something? Let me let you see something else now.
Former President Jimmy Carter speaking out tonight about President Trump, something he doesn't often do, but the 39th president is blunt in his Washington Post profile, saying, quote, I think he is a disaster in human rights and taking care of people and treating people equal. And tonight we're learning what another president might have thought, and that's Ronald Reagan. Ronald Reagan's daughter, Patty Davis, has an opinion piece in the Washington Post titled, My Father, Ronald Reagan, Would Never Have Stood for This. Patty Davis joins me now. Good evening to you. Thank you so much for joining us, Patty.
Good evening. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. You just heard what President Carter, his comments about President Trump. Former presidents don't often speak out about the current one, the sitting president. But President Trump seems to be testing that practice. What do you think your father would have to say?
I think my father would be appalled, but I think he would also be really heartbroken at where this country has come to and where we have sunk to. And I think he would be frightened at the use of the word enemy toward the media. You know, the word enemy is really a very strategic word if you think about it, because if you call someone the enemy, you've dehumanized them.
Let me go into that a little bit. I want to go into a little more depth about the press. The press was set up by them to question people, especially to question not just those in authority, but for all of those who have, but specifically for those in authority. Because people who are under you, people who don't have direct, who do not directly have the power to affect you, are not, they can't create too much of a problem. But people who have authority, that the society has given authority to, how do you put them in check? How do you know what they are about behind closed doors and whatnot? The press corps has a place in the Capitol. That's not by the president's permission. That's the way this government was set up. And the press, when whatever is going on up there, it is their job to ask questions, get answers, and relate to the American people what leadership is doing. What those who they hired to lead their nation and to be the heads of state of their government. The press is the ones that's supposed to keep the American people informed of what's going on up there. Do you understand? So they dig and they ask questions. That's what their job is. If the leadership is not doing anything that is untoward or unlawful or detrimental, if that is not their intentions, they do not have to fear the press. I mean, it goes without saying that the president cannot tell the press everything that is going on in the government, because some of it would endanger the security of the nation, especially in a world where people have nuclear weapons and people have armies, and there's potentials for war, and you cannot let your enemies know what your plans are for your defense. Do you understand? Any more than you would get in a huddle on a football. You don't. If they call a huddle on the football field, they don't call the other team over there and let him participate in the huddle to plan the next play. Do you understand? So you know you can't just go tell everything. So they have a press secretary, and the press secretary goes and holds briefings to give people a summary or a brief, a public brief about basic plans of the president and his administration for the national scene. This not so much as international so much, because they ain't gonna tell you much about the international scene unless the country's at war or something, and then they will keep you abreast to how that's going. But for the most part, that's news that you don't ask about too much. You don't get into all of that, because you should have better sense than to be getting out in the public telling everybody what's going on in the war. Remember Enigma? Yeah. What if England had published that they'd broken the code of Enigma? Then Hitler and them would have just changed the code. So you have to know what you should say and what you shouldn't. But as you look at the media is the only thing you really have as the public to protect you from people who may make you aware that you may have treasonous people in your government. How you got to have some way of watching what people doing. Otherwise, you are a blind follower. Do you understand? The press keeps the country, the people from being blind, and they're following people. That's why it was so necessary to have laws governing people who give out information in the country. If you're going to give out information, it must be the law that that information must be true. When they took those laws away, they set you up for a fall. People, newspapers and newscasters used to be held to the standard that they can tell a story, but it better be a story that they have proof of. But now, you can get on there and call yourself Fox News and not be a news station at all. Tucker Carlson on there, when they got sued, when Dominion sued them, they got on there and confessed. Oh, this is not news. This is just a show. Well, that don't give you the right to get out there and slander. A show is make-believe. Dominion is a real company. You ain't got no right to go out there and misrepresent those people and their company's reputation and for voting machines or any other type of machines that they build. I'm pretty sure they build other machines other than voting machines. You don't go out and misrepresent that and then claim that we were just putting on a show. No, you can't. Now, it's something that I want to say to you, my people. Is any of you think that Fox News is anything other than a bigoted, racist network? And from now on, now I can't make you love me. But if I'm going to spend my money with you, you're going to respect me. Anytime I walk into your business, if I see Fox News on there, and you sitting up there watching Fox News, I'm going to turn right around and walk out of there, because that tell me what you really feel. That tell me that you ain't got no respect for me. And I advise all my people, stop spending your money with people who don't have no more respect for you than to sit up and listen to lies all day so they can justify mistreating you. You hear me? Yes, sir. To hell with them. They try to suggest that, and this ain't just because of that, but I'm trying to show you something. How come they talked about Benny Thompson for coming in here? I'm one of the voters. We vote. Why shouldn't he talk to us and answer questions if we got questions for him? And if we call Clarence Thomas and say that Clarence Thomas hates black people, what is that to you? That's what black people mean when we say somebody's an Uncle Tom. He hates black people. Now you show me any case that came up there where Clarence Thomas voted for anything in the way of civil rights or anything for black people. Show me where he upheld anything that was good for black people. Just one case. Show it to me. and tried to suggest that I somehow felt uncomfortable with him saying that. I'm the one brought up the question about Clarence Thomas. How come you didn't come and ask me? Were you uncomfortable when he said that? Why did you suggest that I looked uncomfortable when I said you said that and I didn't? I come here and tell the people I started laughing. You know, I mean, people, you know, if I say something and you question me on it and I start ducking it, well, then you know I'm uncomfortable. And if I'm uncomfortable with it, why did I say it? Do you understand? But don't be trying to suggest that Benny Thompson said something he shouldn't have. Benny Thompson just told the truth. I'm a black man, he's a black man, and he and I both agreed that Clarence Thomas hates black people. That's just the truth. You play your little games or whatever. If Clarence Thomas was any kind of man, it's no way he'd have went along with a lot of the stuff he'd been going along with. He don't even belong on the Supreme Court. Got a wife out there supporting the overthrow of the government. What are you doing on the Supreme Court? Well, anyway, that's what really is amazing to me is why none of those justices like Justice Roberts and all of them haven't asked him to resign. I mean, I guess they can't make him resign, I don't guess. But they could sure tell him, hey man, you need to step down. Man, you done brought the Supreme Court its reputation into ill repute. Of course, he ain't the only one. That last appointee of Donald Trump got on there crookedly. And, you know, I mean, all of them. I mean, this is, I mean, they stacked the court. We heard him, Mitch McConnell, come out there and tell us that Barack Obama, I mean, he was 8 months before it was time for an election. And he refused to have a hearing on whether or not President Obama, he wouldn't even hear. He wouldn't even have a hearing on Merrick Garland. Let me tell you something. What you need to do is Congress need to put some laws in place where no one can ever do that again. Where Mitch McConnell and no other senator or no other racist, bigoted person can get in there and decide that a president, any president, if you want to stop it during an election year, then you need to make that a law. And everybody held to it. Do you understand? But not on the whim of this what's the head man of the Senate? The majority leader of the Senate. Going to tell a president of the United States that he is not going to give consent or advise and consent on someone that the president picks to replace a vacancy on the Supreme Court. When he did not do that, when Obama was in office, he actually didn't do the job that the Constitution tells him is his job. So, you know, I don't like getting bogged down in their stuff, because this they mess, and you can see that's what it is now. Ain't nothing but a bunch of mess. They turned it into a bunch of mess. So, but listen.
You've made them into a target, really. And I think it's even broader than just calling the media the enemy. You've stoked fear in people. You've stoked fear in this country just by invoking the word enemy. I heard a quote years ago that I believe was attributed to Ceausescu, the Romanian dictator who was executed in '89. I'm not 100% positive it was Ceausescu, so don't hold me to that. But the quote was, you can do whatever you want if you keep the people frightened enough. And I think that is the agenda.
Do you see that happening? I mean, these people try to frighten the people who handle elections, try to frighten you into not doing the job. Try to frighten you into just sitting idle while they put people in place. This little minority group of people, relatively speaking, a minority of maybe a few million people all throughout the country, trying to take charge of all the elections. Do you understand? So that they can actually destroy the democratic process. And you sitting up scared to stop them. Only white people can stop this stuff that's going on in Texas and in Arizona and in Mississippi and everywhere else. This is white people's country. And if you don't stop it, you're going to lose it. Now, you mark my words, and it's not going to affect me. I'm already sleeping on the floor. So I can't fall out the bed. So you go ahead. Don't listen. Do what you gonna do. It's just like you heard Texas Paul. He said he threw sitting on the sideline. You never should have been on the sideline, Paul. You should have stopped this stuff when you saw them, the unjust things that they was doing, and you didn't say nothing. Because what? You thought they wouldn't do it to white people? You were wrong. You saw them up there telling the white police officers that was defending the Capitol, accusing them, those officers, of being unpatriotic. Because what? They were defending the government and the way it functions. You know, all of the people, all of the soldiers who fought for the Confederacy considered themselves patriots. And guess who they considered to be the traitors? The Union Army. At least that's the lie they was telling themselves. Because the name of this country was not the sovereign Confederate States. The name of the country at the time the war broke out was the United States of America. The Union of the United States of America. And the army that those so-called patriots was fighting against was called the Union Army. And what were they fighting for? They were fighting for the preservation of the Union of the United States. So who were the real patriots? What was the name of the country? The United States. So whoever was fighting for the United States was the patriot. Who was the traitors? Those who were trying to secede from the United States and break up the Union. Do you understand? Now, it wouldn't be just for me to stand up here and say that and don't let some of these Confederate people who still feel that the Confederacy was right, come in here and tell us about it. Now, I'll listen to you. I'll let you. That won't be no waste of my time. Come in and convince me that you was right and that y'all was right in what you was doing. Because you obviously thought you was right because you at it again. You actually never stopped. I mean, it's nothing for you. You know, you better be glad that I was asleep and dead all of these times. Because if I had been awake, and especially if I had been white and awake, I would have woke everybody up to what you about. When I saw you still trying to fly that Confederate flag, I'd have asked you to get out. Told you, you don't belong in this country. That's the flag you give your allegiance to? Those people tried to destroy this country. And when Abraham Lincoln made the mistake of forgiving and thinking that he could be brothers with them, they murdered him. They never stopped fighting. And they all in your house like termites now. Destroying it from the inside. If I was the head of the Justice Department, I'd be marching people out in handcuffs every day. I'd go get all of them. Sure would. And charge them with just what they're guilty of, sitting up in the government of the United States committing treason. And even try to justify it somehow by misrepresenting the Constitution. There's certain things you cannot allow if you want to keep your country. You cannot allow people to sit up in your government and purposely misrepresent the Constitution. You can't let people just be out in the public with unchallenged. I mean, if you want to talk about, you notice, I say the Second Amendment says this and it means this and it means that. And I leave myself open to the public. If I'm going to say it in the public, I have to leave myself open to whoever challenges my definition. And if I'm not willing to do that, I shouldn't be given the right to say it. Because that is dangerous. That can harm the country. To misrepresent the very thing that binds the country together, which is the Constitution of the United States, not the Constitution of Mississippi, Texas, or North Carolina, or South Carolina, or Arizona, not the Constitution of the Constitution of the United States. You should not allow people to play with it and purposely misrepresent it. So, do what you, let me show you something else here. I mean, his daughter told you that her father wouldn't go along with this stuff they doing. Of course, as I told you, the Constitution can't defend itself. It don't make no, the Bible can't defend itself. The Holy Quran cannot defend itself. Unless you eat it, take it in, and then be bold enough, unfearful enough to uphold it. And when someone misrepresents it, tell them, hey man, what are you talking about? That's not what that means. You can always, if you're going to interpret the Constitution, the Constitution has to be your yardstick to justify whatever interpretation you put on it. That's what makes it so unique. That's why I agreed with that man that said it is a divinely inspired document. It starts off interpreting itself. It starts off giving you its purpose. In order to form a more perfect union. Not in order to divide, but in order to unite. So any politician that claims to uphold the Constitution and then begins to do things that brings about division in the nation is not upholding the Constitution. Do you understand? It said, we the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice. What is justice? Justice dictates that you go after all fugitives. I didn't hear you. When people have broken your laws, your just laws, a just law is a law that the Constitution does not condemn. You understand? That's the just law. One, that you are not violating the rights of a person when you make that law. It does not violate the rights of the citizens. Huh? The law is supposed to help the citizens do the right thing, even if they don't know the right thing. It's supposed to help them until they get the consciousness to do it. The law keeps them from overstepping their bounds. You understand? So the Constitution protects them while giving you the right to restrict them in certain things. It protects their rights in other things. Do you understand? Okay. So if if it says promote domestic tranquility, how can you interpret the Constitution, the Second Amendment, to mean that all citizens have the right to all people when you say the people, the right of the people to keep and to bear arms shall not be infringed? If the Constitution meant for all people to have the right to keep and to bear arms, then why would it say it was here to promote domestic peace? You can't have domestic peace if everybody walking around carrying guns, then all arguments a majority of arguments would end in a gunfight. You liars. You see how if you really understood, you would know that people have been misinterpreting the Constitution purposely. And you never took the time to even read the preamble. Because the preamble tells you what the purpose of the whole document is. Anyway, I'm not going to belabor this. I'm going to let you hear, they got you frightened. Well, at least they think they got you frightened. I think Paul and woke up. And he said he threw sitting on the side. And I'm glad. I told you I want to interview with him. Did you finally reach him? Would some of y'all that know Texas Paul tell him I'd like to interview him? Now listen to this.
It's in the very nature of time that it runs on more quickly than any of us would wish, and I must compress all that I want to say into a few brief and fleeting minutes. Now perhaps that in itself represents one of the lessons that I can impart, the preciousness of each moment. And this is so important as you look to the future. You see, in the 21st century, staying employed will mean more than just knowing something. It'll mean being able to keep on learning. It'll mean having character and discipline and being proud of yourselves. Learning to learn. Learning to look to the future with confidence. We're moving from an age of things to an age of thoughts, of mind over matter. It is the mind of man, free to invent, free to experiment, free to dream, that will shape the economy and the world of the future. You will discover as you get older that certain things are so much a part of your life that you'll remember them always. You'll remember how you felt about things, about successes, and yes, disappointments. Every generation is critical of the generation that preceded it. Our generation felt that way, and so will yours. But in casting aside the old, don't throw out those values that have been tested by time just because they're old. We want to tell you all that we have learned. We want to paint for you our own experience so vividly that you'll be able to avoid our heartaches while you double and redouble your joys. And then we find we have nothing at our disposal but words, weak and feeble instruments. Still, we must try. Every modicum of knowledge that can be truly and rightly transmitted from one generation to the next can prove invaluable. Don't be concerned because you haven't made up your mind. I graduated from college with a degree in economics and sociology, and still had not been able to pin down exactly what I wanted to do. The demand was just maybe to get a job of any kind because I graduated at the very depth of the Great Depression, 1932. It wasn't until I went back to my summer job to get a little money to go job hunting after I'd graduated. My summer job was lifeguarding at a river beach in my hometown. And there were people who came out from the city and corporate heads and so forth with their families every summer, and I'd taught their children to swim, and one was there, and he told me that if I could tell him what I wanted to do, he had contacts with a number of businesses and areas. He would do what he could to get me a job. And I went home and I thought, and I finally realized that in spite of my degree in economics and sociology, I didn't have the nerve to say I wanted to be an actor. But radio was pretty new, and I said I wanted to be a sports announcer. He said, well, I don't have any contacts. There's nothing I can do to help you there. But
he said, maybe that's better. Let me give you some advice. He gave me the best advice I've ever had. He said, you start out knocking on doors, telling people, at those doors, what you want to do, businesses. And someplace along the line, even in this depression, you'll find someone in a radio station. Don't ask to be a radio or a sports announcer. He said, just ask for anything because you believe in the future of radio. Anything inside the station, and then take your chances on there from getting to what you want. And then you'll get a job. And he says, don't get discouraged if you go to knock on a lot of doors. Remember, a salesman sometimes has to make 250 calls before he makes a sale. It turned out to be the greatest advice I was ever given. You already have a voice. Make it heard. You're free to be whatever you want to be with no one and nothing stopping you. In a free society, you're free to invent yourself, to turn yourself into a great teacher, a race car driver, a minister, or a movie star, or a grower and seller of flowers. You could be anything. It's your invention, and there's nothing to stop you. Don't let it bother you that you haven't made that decision yet. You'll change your mind many times before it comes the right moment. But then when it comes, just knock on the door of whatever you've chosen to do and ask until you find somebody that'll let you in. Now we have arrived, as we always do, at the moment of truth. It is time to clean house, to clean out the privileges and perks, clean out the arrogance and the big egos, clean out the scandals, the corner cutting and the foot dragging. Let's not dismiss our current troubles. But where they see only problems, I see possibilities as vast and diverse as the American family itself. Whether we come from poverty or wealth, Christian or Jewish, from big cities or small towns, we are all equal in the eyes of God. That's not enough. We must be equal in the eyes of each other. We can no longer judge each other on the basis of what we are, but must instead start finding out who we are. Our origins matter less than our destinations, and that's what democracy is all about. We can assert that the time has come to move forward. Let us leave behind suspicion between our peoples and replace it with understanding. It's a philosophy you can live by. In fact, I hope you do. As a matter of fact, I believe with all my heart that if a generation of young people throughout the world could get to know each other, they would never make war upon each other. That no force on earth can stop individuals from achieving great goals when they have the will and the heart to pull together and work together. It's good for society when we all know that no one is manipulating the system to their advantage because they're rich and powerful. But it's also good for society when everyone pays something, that everyone makes a contribution. We must not let the creation of wealth become a preoccupation with material things. We've made so much economic progress in our country that it'll mean very little if your children look back at your days as a time of materialism and selfishness and looking out for number one. But money's only money unless it represents genuine commitment. There's an old American tradition called house raising. The pioneers out west would get together and build each other's houses. That was a long time ago, but it's still going on. Every time someone helps a lonely old man or woman in a shelter for the poor, that's a house raising. I wish you a nation of strength and wealth and power. But more than that, I wish you a nation where the house raising continues. Remarkable things are happening everywhere. People of all nations, people of all races and faiths have learned to live in harmony. Our children have been able to grow up in prosperity and freedom. It falls to us now, as it soon shall fall to you, to preserve and strengthen the peace. Surely no man can have a greater goal than that of protecting the next generation against the destruction and pain of warfare. But what's really important is what inspired us to do these things. What's really important is the philosophy that guided us. The whole thing can be boiled down to a few words: freedom, freedom, and more stand out west. He's just a regular guy, but he worked hard, advertised, and the little stand prospered. You may have heard of it. It's called McDonald's. Hope finds its expression in hard work. Our proudest moments are yet to be. Our most glorious achievements are just ahead. And no matter how full our own lives have been, we say with Thomas Jefferson, I like the dreams of the future better than the history of the past. Let us all renew our commitment, renew our pledge to day by day, person by person, make our country and the world a better place to live. May every dawn be a great new beginning. We are beginning still. Every day brings fresh challenges and opportunities to match. Go for it. Reach those heights. Excel. Keep it up. Keep on saying yes to life. Never forget your heroic origins. Never fail to seek divine guidance. And never lose your natural, God-given optimism. Enjoy your freedom. Breathe it in. Use it to create the most important and moving thing a man or woman can create. A decent and meaningful life. May each of you have the heart to conceive, the understanding to direct, and the hand to execute works that will make the world a little better for your having been here. I want you to know that I have always had the highest respect for you, for your common sense and intelligence, and for your decency. I have always believed in you and in what you could accomplish, and whatever else history may say about me when I'm gone, I hope it will record that I appealed to your best hopes, not your worst fears, to your confidence rather than your doubts.
So we can dispense with all this we can dispense with all this hypocrisy coming out of people like they some Reagan fans and all of this kind of stuff. You don't give a damn about Ronald Reagan. That's just a lie you tell, like these liars walking around here talking about they love the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. You a bunch of liars, bunch of hypocrites. The Holy Quran says the hypocrites are surely liars. All you have to do to find out what people really feel, let them throw a name out there at you, and then you go find some of the words of that man and see if the words of that man agree with what you see them doing. Then you know the truth. Just like them hypocrites that you come in here trying to ask me what that American flag doing there, and you know, how many times have I been asked that? Huh? Then you go over there and look at the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and listen to him. Those were some of his last words to us. He said there's much that can be interchanged in between them and us in the way of the flag. He said, we hoist our flag right up beside his. He didn't say take it down. Here a man showing you respect, but you don't, or you want people to show you respect, but you ain't got sense enough to show them respect. You'll come in here and you want me to respect you, to let you talk in my forum. And then when I go to speak, you act like it's your forum. You just keep talking. You overtalk me in my own forum. That's why the cemetery is so full of graves out there. Because you will go in a man's house and act like it's yours. Man tell you, I don't allow that in here. Well, who you don't tell me when I can do this and that. And next thing you know, if you ain't careful, he put you in the ground. Ain't nobody have to tell me how to act in their house. I know how to act in somebody else's house. Because I remember that I'm a guest. And they can put me out anytime they get ready. Do you understand? And I'm smart enough to leave if they tell me to get out. Do you understand? No. Because, you know, in the first place, if I tell you to get out of my house, you best get out. So I know what I want when I tell somebody to get out. I know what I want when I tell somebody that they come in my forum here. And you see how I act when I get in other people's forum. I do them the way that I want to be done. If they go to talking, I be quiet. They don't have to say shut up and let me talk or be quiet and let me say something, man. The minute my host begins speaking, I be quiet. When I start speaking again, I may say, well, you cut me off when I was trying to, But even then, if he go to talking again, I shut up again. Because he wouldn't have started speaking if he don't have to say be quiet if he starts speaking. Because that's what he's expecting. Because he's the one speaking. And it's his forum. Do you understand? So, But see, you would understand that if you had gotten behind me and paid attention in class, you would have been more civilized by now. But no. I still got some who don't get that message but I'm patient. Me as your leader and teacher, then I'm your head. If you talking to each other and I go to say something, both of you be quiet. That goes without saying to me. And it will soon go without saying to you. It's just like in any place where you are in charge. Well, those who are your subordinates are supposed to know to be quiet when you start speaking. That's not no news to you. Anyway, I'm trying to show you how to get respect. I told you respect is not given, it's earned. The way you earn respect is to give respect. To show respect. That's what I mean by giving. Show respect for others. What do you mean show it? Let them see you exercise respect. And if they don't have sense enough to see your respect to them and they disrespect you, dismiss yourself from their presence or dismiss them from your presence, depending on what it calls for. If they are a guest, tell them you can go now. You understand? And if you are the guest, you tell them, okay, I have to go. And leave. People will stop disrespecting you when you stop accepting being disrespected. You can practice whatever you want to practice. If you want to practice racism, you go ahead and do so, but I ain't going to let you practice on me. That's what I meant when I said I walk in there, you got Fox News on or got something else on that tells me that you are somebody that listens to foolishness to help you justify disrespecting me and my people. I'm not going to spend now another dollar with you. No, I'm, if that's the well you drinking from, that poison well, then I don't want to deal with nobody who got a poison mind against me. You see, no, you go ahead. And you hate me that much, well then you go ahead. I'll stay out your face. Tell you something else. I'm getting sick of these people sitting up acting like we are some trouble to them. What we need to do, black brother and sister, we need to unite and just leave them. Let them have all of this stuff that they claim we keeping from them. We can build up our own civilization. We don't have to sit here taking this garbage off of them. I know how to show you the truth. Most of these rednecks and stuff that's always got so much hateful stuff to say about us don't know how to build nothing. And don't know how to run nothing. That's why all he can do is sit up and try to justify his existence by blaming all of his laziness and his lack of having anything, blaming it on everybody but his lazy, trifling ass. You ain't see us walking around here begging and going on when the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was here. We wasn't begging nobody for nothing. And I ain't going to start begging now. Yeah. So, any feedback?
You wanted to be reminded to share something regarding the troopers and their pulling people over.
Oh, I want to say to the troopers, they just had a trooper that got killed. Look, what needs to happen? Y'all got loudspeakers in them cars. With all these people riding up and down the road with guns and stuff now, I say to the state troopers, since they don't ride but one in a car at a time, trooper, you need to, when you pull up behind people and they pull over, you need to open your door, get behind your door, standing up so you can reach your weapon if you need to. And then get on your loudspeaker and say, sir or ma'am, would you please step out of the car and walk back to the back of your car. And keep your hands in plain sight. And do it calmly. Ain't no sense in you taking no chance on some fool out there trying to murder you. So, and whoever's in the car, let them all, you know, you may have people in the back seat, and if that's all it is, you know, you just keep your eye on them. If you think it's necessary, tell them all to get out. But I wouldn't if it's just you. You know, if you think something else is wrong, then you let another trooper come down and before you ask all of them to get out. But you know, it's a terrible thing when a man is all he's out there doing is keeping the highway safe, and his life got to be in danger. That makes no sense. So, you know, one of the troopers here, you know, I know quite a few of them. You know, I've known some of the highway patrolmen, and most of them that I've ever known were very civilized. When they stop you, they respect you. They ain't nobody trying to pick nothing with you. So you don't have to be out there trying to pick nothing with them. And I would not take any chances with my life out there. Now, these people losing their minds. So his job, the state trooper's job, is getting them highway patrol jobs is getting more and more dangerous. And I would suggest they, stay behind their car door and, invite the person to come out, and if they need to get their driver's license, but don't go up to that window, because you don't know what these people got going. No. But anyway, that's my suggestion to you. So anyway, I'm gonna let it go. So we was out yesterday, and one of the brothers told me that one of the troopers got killed. If you want, I'm gonna tell you something. If you want people to respect and care about you, you need to show people that you respect and care about them. It's kind of stupid to ask somebody to respect you when you don't respect them. Ain't that kind of stupid? And then you'll hear some people say, I don't need their respect. I don't want their respect. That's a fool. Wise men know they need the respect of every human being that they want to respect them. And they know that, anywhere you go, do you want to be disrespected? Any place that you go, do you appreciate people disrespecting you? Well, then every place you go, don't disrespect people. Anyway, the messenger taught me that he reiterated that to me. Respect everybody, and everybody will respect you.
Excuse me, sir. Somebody raised their hand.
Yes, what is it?
Assalamu alaikum.
May wa alaikum assalam.
Solomon, I was just wondering, are you going to have a tour to your city that you're building? The new things that's built to it. Since the virus is going down.
First of all, you can't, I don't know of any way to stop people from coming into a city if you built a city. People go to, you don't ask no city that you go to in America, you're free to go wherever you want. But, I'm not finna invite people to come here at this time, because the CDC has not told us that this pandemic is over. Have you heard the CDC tell us that the pandemic is over with?
No, sir.
I haven't. So, no, we're not finna tell you get out on no highway and go do nothing. So, when I feel that it's safe and the information that is shared with us is accurate, then I will tell you, that it's safe. But right now, I'm doing what I was warned to do. Avoid mass gatherings and all of that kind of thing. And when you get around other people, wear a mask and stuff. And if you can help it, don't have a bunch of mass gatherings. So I just don't do it. You know, so. Any more questions? And if there are no more questions, it's been 4 hours, going on 4.5. And like I said, you know, other people may think that's a long time. That ain't no long time. For me, that's just par. So matter of fact, that's under par to me. Because I could go and go. You know, y'all don't get tired of listening to me, you know. You know, people don't want to let me stop teaching. The messenger said that. He said, I used to teach 6 hours. He said, that's no long time. He said, when a speaker gets tired of speaking and people get tired of listening to him, it is because that speaker is not giving them nothing to think over. He said, but people don't care how long you teach as long as you're giving them something to think over. Do you understand? You be thinking while I'm talking. New thoughts be coming into your head while I'm speaking. Huh? Oh, you don't hear nobody texting me, you ain't talking about nothing. Yeah, I've had people that try to tell that lie. I've been going 4 and 5 hours. They've been in there, and then you quit sending a text on, you ain't talking about nothing. Well, what you been in there for 4 hours for then? You know, they just tell on themselves. And so now, when they do that, I throw them in hell. Because that's very disrespectful. When I've been teaching you and sharing the word of God with you, the word of angels and of men. And I've been showing you the harmony between the natural and the spiritual, between the weak and the strong. Flesh is weak. So you know, even in Ronald Reagan's speech, I didn't comment on it, but he said words that are weak. You know, that's meaning natural knowledge. You know, that come from earthly things. You know, as Jesus called it that. If I have told you earthly things and you have not believed, how shall you believe if I tell you of heavenly things? You see? So I know a lot of things that Allah has made me aware of. And I share it with you. Some of it. As He permits. And as things that He don't want me to share, He take from me. And that's it. So all praise is due to Allah. So I tell you, some of you that are in communities that are close knit, you see some of your good officers out there alone stopping people. It may not hurt for you to just stop and make sure that nothing untoward happens to them. You understand? Ask him, is he all right? You know, ain't nothing wrong with that. I've done it. It's been a while, so I don't really go out no more because I be around here working all the time. But, you know, I remember Officer Minor, he was dear to us. He was always just a good officer, man. You know, he didn't take no stuff, but he did his job. It really bothered me when he got in that accident. And remember, I think the person that was driving fell asleep behind the wheel, and he got killed in that. I think that's how he passed. But, it's sad people are so hateful. You know, may Allah bless us all and keep us safe and in our right minds. And I say to you who believe in Allah, get rid of those guns. If you are for peace, if you are for righteousness, then you don't want to kill anyone. You don't need no gun. Let Allah decide who dies and who lives. You understand? All right. So may Allah bless us and keep us all safe and in our right minds. And may He grant to you a peaceful and pleasant evening, peaceful and pleasant night's rest and sleep, and a happy, peaceful, and pleasant morning's rise. May Allah's